Hey, AP Psychology students. Just wanted to hop on here and do a quick video, kind of walk you through the FRQ Forum this week. I didn't go over this in class much because I know there were several people that still needed to finish. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through my thoughts with this forum, and hopefully this helps you with the FRQ on the exam next week. So it says, you want to complete your responses, 5 terms. You can read that, but I just want to kind of go through the prompts with you. So it says researchers conducted a naturalistic study of children between the ages of 5 and 7. Researchers visited classrooms during class party celebrations. As a measure of hyperactivity, they recorded the number of times children left their seats. The researchers found a strong positive correlation between sugary snacks offered at the parties and hyperactivity. Based on these findings, the researchers concluded that sugar causes hyperactivity. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Part A, how might the following explain why people may easily accept the conclusion of the study described above? Confirmation bias. So you would say something along the lines of, they might already believe this, so they seek out information that confirms it. So they might be looking for kids eating sugar and then acting hyperactive, and then that's just going to confirm or drive home the opinion that they already have. Availability heuristic. Here, you're making a decision based on what's memorable, what's vivid, what pops into your head. So maybe you remember times where children acted hyper when they ate sugar, so you're going to be more likely to believe this, and so you're going to think that this is more true than it really is. Misunderstanding of correlation studies. The key that I would be looking for here is that you show that correlation does not mean causation. So just because there's a correlation doesn't mean between the kids eating sugar or being offered sugar and being hyperactive, that does not mean that sugar causes hyperactivity. And actually the evidence does not agree with that either. As a follow-up study, the researchers are designing an experiment to test whether sugar causes hyperactivity. For the experiment, please do the following. State a possible hypothesis. You could create one of your own here, or you could just kind of use the one that's in the passage and just say that kids who are given sugar will be more hyperactive. That would suffice. Operationally define the independent and dependent variables. So when I'm looking here, you could come up with your own here, but you could kind of use what's in the passage as well. The dependent variable is going to be hyperactivity. And so think about, how is that being measured in this study? Recording the number of times children left their seats. They're saying that that's going to be an indicator of how hyperactive those kids are. Not sure that that's a great operational definition, but that's what they're using. And then the independent variable would be the sugary snacks. So you could, give an example of this. You could say we're going to give each kid 3 candy bars or something along those lines. So you just have to come up with a specific example of what sugar is. And then describe how random assignment can be achieved. So the key with random assignment is you're putting people in the control and experimental groups randomly. So there's an equal chance of being in both groups. So you could do something like get all of the names of the kids, put them in a hat, draw them out, and go back and forth. The first one's control, the second one's experimental, back and forth. You could talk about creating a random number generator for each kid in the roster, and then hitting that, and it's going to pick numbers randomly and put those kids into groups. Prompt number 2 says Dr. Tabor wanted to investigate the relationship between sleep and levels of alertness during a class for American university students. She required 150 college freshmen in her Intro to Psych course to fill out a survey, asking them to report how many hours they slept each night during a 2-week period. Dr. Tabor also had the participants rate their level of alertness on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most alert each day at the end of class. Dr. Tabor compared the average amount of sleep reported by each participant along with the average score on the alertness scale on a graph to examine the data. The resulting correlation coefficient for Dr. Tabor's data was positive 0.89. At the end of the study, she posted the names and results of the study in the local college newspaper. So it says, define each of the terms and explain how each concept might apply to Dr. Tabor's research. So random sample, you would just talk about how it's when you're choosing people for your study, everybody that's in your population has an equal chance of being in the study. I would say here how it relates to this research is she does not have a perfectly random sample. A lot of students take intro to psych, but not all of them. So I would just say something along the lines of this is not a truly random sample. Scatter plot, you could just say that that's a graph that you put information in about two variables on a graph, and you could put a dot to show that, and it shows the correlation between two variables. And that's what Dr. Tabor is going to use to show the correlation between amount of sleep and levels of alertness. Wording effects. The key here is just having some kind of a discussion about how Dr. Tabor words the questions in the survey could have an impact on how students respond. It could change their answer if her wording for questions is biased in any way. So some kind of answer that would convey that. Positive correlation, you would just talk about a positive correlation is one where both variables are moving in the same direction. So if one is going up, so is the other. And if they're going down together. And in this research, there is definitely a strong positive correlation between levels of alertness and sleep. Operational definition. So you would just say that the operational definition is how we specifically define or describe what it is exactly we're doing in the study, especially our variables. So in this study, you look at levels of alertness. She's rating the level of alertness on a scale of 1 to 10. So you could say something about it would be the score on the scale or survey that the person is filling out. So you would want to be that specific, though. It's the score that the person gave themselves on the survey or scale or form or whatever you want to call it. Two ethical flaws in this passage. Let's see here. We have one here. She posted the names and results of the study in the local college newspaper, so she broke confidentiality. She also required 150 college freshmen in her Intro to Psych course to fill out the survey. That would kind of violate the coercion, so you shouldn't force people to be in your study. So that's just a quick overview of the FRQs. Hopefully that helped if you are stuck on any of these. So let me know if you got any questions. Thank you.